Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum everyone, how are you all? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a great Ramzan so far. Mashallah, the time is flying by so fast, and I pray that we all make the most out of this blessed month and that Allah accepts all of our du'as, ibadats and efforts. How is your Ramzan going so far? Have you guys made any goals for yourself? Do let me know in the comments below. This month has been pretty busy for us, spending the day with the kids and waking up so early for sehri and then iftar and just fitting in little slots of ibadat time. I'm sure other mothers of young kids would understand what I mean. I just like to think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees everything, and he sees the efforts we make for our kids and families, and inshallah we will get ajr for that too. So the past week I hosted a few iftars for friends and family, and here are some clips of how everything turned out. Mashallah, mashallah, it was amazing. Everything turned out awesome, and it was just a great time with friends and family. I wanted to share everything that I did to prep and set up for my iftar parties. So in today's video, I will share all the food prep I did in advance for the iftar party, as well as some tips and tricks to make the process easier. First things first, I recently learned how to make yogurt at home from my mom, mashallah, and I thought it would be a helpful recipe to share since it's something that's used so much during Ramzan for, like sahur, chaat, dahi bhalle, chutneys, etc. So I took the container I'll be making the yogurt in and I poured whole milk, 3.25%, and then I basically transfer that over to my pot. But before that, I add a little bit of water to the pot, and that prevents the milk from burning. So the whole time I keep my flame on medium around 4 to 5, and then you basically let your milk come to a boil. You want it to boil for about like 5 minutes, and then when you see these foamy bubbles form at the top, I would turn off the heat and let it cool down. So we're not completely cooling it. We want the temperature of the milk to be warm, not boiling hot, but just warm enough for you to be able to put your finger in like this. If your milk is cold or room temperature, it will not turn into yogurt. Another reason you want to keep it warm is because you'll be adding yogurt to it, which will bring its temperature down a lot. So then you pour it back into your container and grab any yogurt that you have. This is a previous batch that I made. So I take 1 tablespoon from here and I mix it well into the milk. Key thing, while making yogurt is, I keep saying it, is to make sure that the yogurt is nice, or the milk is nice and warm. So after I mix it in nicely, I make sure to cover the container. So in my situation, I like to use like a pot, any pot that I have, and I fill it with like extra scarves or a warm hoodie, something that I have, and I'll put the container in the middle, and that is to keep the milk mixture nice and warm. If your milk is cold, it will not turn into yogurt. So yeah, you want to cover that nicely and let it rest, usually overnight for about 12 to 18 hours. And once that time has passed, then you want to take it out and put it directly into the fridge for it to firm up a little bit. So this is how the yogurt came out, mashallah, and this is after I put it in the fridge. It came out super thick and delicious, mashallah. So yeah, you guys should definitely try it and let me know how it turns out for you. I would love to hear your experiences. Next, I made Shami Kebabs. I made 2 types. So the first one is Qeema and dal, and this one is super simple. You just put all the ingredients, Qeema, dal, and a bunch of masalas into the pot and add some water, and you let it boil so that it can cook. And this is Ammi's recipe. This one is super simple, super easy, and it tastes great. The next one was chicken Shami Kebabs, and basically I added chicken breast, added 2 cups of dal, and then 1 onion with some garlic cloves, as well as a bunch of masalas. So this recipe is also very simple, very easy. You just add everything to your pressure cooker, and then you want to cook it on a medium flame. And I will have the detailed recipes for both of these Shami Kebabs in the description bar below, so you can check that out for all the ingredients. Recipes are also really good for kids. Like mashallah, my kids really enjoy it when I make Shami burgers for them using these 2 recipes, and my husband liked it as well. So give it a try and see if you guys like it as well. I had actually done all this prep a week in advance before my iftar parties, just so I have a lot of things ready. It's always nice to have things in the freezer because then you're stressing less about the food, and also you can taste test it beforehand. I also made large quantities so that we can use it for ourselves as well during our regular iftar, like at home. that was cooking, I prepared the chicken mixture for my favorite chicken box patties. So these are a crowd favorite, and I'm sure if you make it for your iftar, everyone will love it too. I have shared the full recipe for these before, so I will link that video up above. But yeah, since I have two small kids under 5, it's very difficult for me to do work and preparation with them around. That's why I would usually do my prep work in the evening once they were asleep, or on the weekend where my husband could look after them and I can quickly get my tasks done. This is the afternoon, and usually they'd have a little bit of playtime, so this is where I would do a lot of the marination and like the quick stove work that I could do. This is how the Shami Kebab mixture looked like after cooking for about half an hour, and it had dried most of the liquid, but a little bit of it was left. So I was making sure to mix it and dry the liquid completely, because then it will be all soft and soggy. I was also sending pictures of it to my mom, to make sure that I'm making it the right way. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Anyone else does this with their ammi, where you're cooking and you're constantly sending them messages or pictures just to make sure that you're on the right track, right? But yeah, for the chicken shami kebab, once the chicken was cooked, I picked out all the chicken breast pieces, and usually you would hand shred it, but because I have a mixer, I decided I would just use my mixer, which is a lifesaver, to be honest. If you have a mixer at home, it honestly doesn't have to be this one. It can be a hand mixer too. It works exactly the same. Just put your chicken in and turn it on, and within seconds you will have shredded chicken. It's just amazing. It's an amazing little hack that I learned, and I think that it saves so much time.
रमज़ान की सातें बढ़ाती है अल्लाह ने नेमतें है ये मग़फ़िरत और रहमत कमा नहीं और किसी माँ की यूं अज़मतें.
The shami kebab were cooked. I basically put them to the side so that way they can cool down completely, and I started cooking the mixture, the marinated chicken that I made earlier for my chicken box patties. And while that's cooking, why don't I share some tips with you guys? So one tip that I would share is that when you're planning such a big iftar party, make sure that you write every single detail down. I like to write a note where I am putting every single little detail down, from the menu items to my ingredients to small little decor items, what I want to use, how the arrangement would be like, what type of color theme I want, what kind of decorations I want, what kind of utensils I want to use. Like every single thing, I like to write it down. So write out your menu items in advance, and under each item you basically make a list of what ingredients you need to make that dish. My menu consisted of iftar favorites like channa char, dahi bhalle, of course, fried foods like samosas, pakoras, etc. But instead of pakoras, I wanted to do something different, and that's why I chose these chicken box patties, because they're crispy, tasty, and spicy, and everyone loves them. So always in your menu, try to add items that you can prep in the freezer beforehand, because that just makes it easier for you. And try to add a simple chart with it. You can even make fruit chart. People like to make varieties of cream fruit chart, regular fruit chart, etc. Whatever you think is going to fit the people that are going to come for your iftar, right? I also like to make sure that the things that I'm making are not new recipes, or it's not my first time making it, because this is going to be, you're going to be fasting. It'll be your rosa. You can't even try it beforehand. So stick to the things that you have tried and tested, and that they are, tasty and amazing. And inshallah, your iftar party will be great. Another tip that I would give is to do the cleaning beforehand, especially if you have kids. Then try to do it in batches on a few days, where you do different areas of the house, and that way you don't leave it all to the last day. There, my chicken box patties mixture is complete, and here the shami kebabs have cooled down. So to the Qeema mixture, I basically added chopped cilantro and green chilies, and again, you can adjust the green chilies or the spiciness to your own level and preference. Now it's finally time to blend everything together, and here I'm basically putting the Qeema masala into my chopper, and I'm going to blend it in 2 or 3 batches. So one tip that Ammi gave me was that basically you're supposed to add an egg at to the mixture, right? So that way it can be combined together. Don't add the egg right away. Add the egg in your final batch, and then once you blend that in, then you can add it to your big bowl and mix everything together nicely. So you can see the texture here. I didn't make it completely smooth. You can definitely see some texture here. Transfer that over to your big bowl, and then you can continue on blending everything in the next couple of batches. Next day, I prepared my trays with cling wrap, as this makes it easier to separate the food from the tray once it's frozen. So I made Shami Kebab patties from the Qeema mixture, and I would add it one by one to the tray, and I made a few layers like this. I made sure to add like cling wrap in between each layer because it makes the process so much simpler and faster. And I know the amount of time it takes to make Shami Kebab is so it's such a tedious work, and it's a lot of effort, but alhamdulillah, the end result is worth it. Having this ready in the freezer makes your life so much easier, and you can take it out for the kids as well as have it in iftar yourself. So yeah, Of course, while I was making those, the kids requested for some to taste, and that's why I made them a Shami burger. They approved, mashallah. I also had taken out the samosa sheets to make my chicken box patties as well as chicken spring rolls later that day. I made them in the evening, and I'll share those clips with you guys in a bit. So now moving on to the chicken Shami mixture, I had put that in the fridge overnight as well. And here I was just adding some fresh cilantro, mint, and green chilies chopped to the mix along with 2 eggs. You want to make sure that you chop that very finely and mix that in all really nicely, and start making your Shami kebabs in the same way and add them to your covered tray.
Ramadan, 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 Ramadan. Suno aayi Ramzan ki saatein बढ़ाती है अल्लाह हाँ नेमतें.
The Shami kebabs are frozen. It's going to look somewhat like this, and you can just see with the cling wrap, it's so easy to remove the Shami kebab from the tray and separate the layers from each other. I think overall this is a great hack just to know, because it really helps. But yeah, then you can pack it in a Ziploc bag, and mashallah, your Shami kebabs are ready for whenever you need to use them. And make sure to label it with the day that you made them, as well as which type of Shami kebab it is. And yeah, it's ready for the freezer. So alhamdulillah, that was done. Then later that night, I basically took my chicken box patty mixture that I had prepared the day before, and I got my samosa sheets and cut them into 3 long strip sections, and basically started on my box patties. I have shared this in my previous vlogs as well, and it is a bit time consuming to make, but I think the end result is so delicious that it makes all the effort worth it. And I think the best part part was like during the iftar when people actually came up to me and told me that they loved this item and that it was really good. I think that made the effort worth it. So alhamdulillah for that. Definitely make sure to try it and let me know in the comments below what you guys think about the chicken box patties, because in my family this is everybody's favorite. But yeah, I was just thinking about like now that the iftar parties are done and I've like managed everything, I have hosted, in my mind I think all the tips that I gave throughout the video, they were really helpful in helping me to plan step by step everything that I need to do for the iftar party. Another tip that I used this time around was that I actually wrote down all the recipes to all of my dishes by hand in my little book, and basically that helped me because I didn't have to waste any time scrolling or searching for the recipes where I've saved them. This actually made the process so much easier and faster for me because I had my book handy dandy beside me, and I would just flip to the page of whatever recipe I needed. And also it's kind of like like my personal little recipe book that I can pass on to my kids inshallah one day. Finally, alhamdulillah, these are all of the chicken box patties that I could make. At the end I actually did have some filling left over, but I ran out of defrosted samosa sheets, so I left that for the next day. At this step I would usually coat each patty in egg and then coat them in breadcrumbs and then put them in Ziploc bags. However, on this day I was very tired from all the work that I'd done, so I ended up putting the chicken box patties into Ziploc bags and just freezing them as is. And then on the day of the iftar party, before frying, I did the coating of egg and coating of breadcrumbs. So it's definitely optional. If you want to save time, then I would recommend you do the coating of egg and breadcrumbs at this stage. But yeah, you can definitely do it at any time before you actually cook it. Once that was done, it's time to move on to my last and final item, which is obviously going to be chicken spring rolls. This is a must-have in our house. This is a favorite of everybody in our house, from my kids to my husband to my parents. Everybody loves these. We'll have the video with the full recipe linked up above for these chicken spring rolls. Do try them out and let me know how it turned out for you. Whenever I'm making these rolls, I like to make like an assembly line system instead of doing one sheet at a time. This is such a faster process. I lay out all the sheets like this on my counter and I fill them up all at the same time and then basically roll them up. I like to seal it with an egg instead of like the flour mixture that most people use. I like the egg mixture. Alhamdulillah, that is how quickly I get the spring rolls done through my assembly line system. But yeah, this is how they turned out. Once I rolled all of them, you're ready to pack them in a Ziploc bag and put them in your freezer, and they're ready for your iftar party, inshallah. But yeah, this is all for today's video. I just wanted to share all the prep that I did beforehand in my freezer for these iftar parties. Inshallah, in my next video, I will share with you guys everything that I did the day before the iftar party and the day of the iftar party, as well as all the layout and the preparation, the decor, everything. So stay tuned for the next video, inshallah. Do let me know in the comments below what you guys thought about today's video, whether it was helpful or not. And also, I do want to hear about how your Ramadan is going, so definitely leave me comments below. Inshallah, I will meet you guys in my next video. So take care and Allah Hafiz.